Welcome to the final episode of my Patagonia road trip / start of my desert road trip. Last time I showed you my favorite place on our southern portion of the road trip, El Chalten. After spending a few days there, we began our drive back to Puerto Natales. Once we left El Chalten, the last 2 days of our road trip were more logistical, getting into place for our flight back to Santiago. We had gorgeous weather for most of the trip, and the day we drove back, it was windy, cold, and raining. A good time to end the trip. We thought the drive back could take several hours, but it ended up going faster than I thought. For some reason, when we got back into Puerto Natales, I didn't like it as much as the first time. I think because I didn't like the hotel where we were staying, and it felt really crowded. I guess I got used to being out in the open nature. And this has nothing to do with anything, but I thought it was kind of weird how these mannequins in town had alien gray faces. The next day was even more windy and rainy. It was so windy, it was relentless. Even though it was a short drive to Punta Arenas, it was stressful. There would be random gusts of wind that literally felt like it could blow our car off the road. Once the wind and rain calmed down, we decided to walk around a graveyard. I love walking around graveyards and seeing the names and dates on the tombstones. It really gives you an idea of the history of a place.
What are you doing? Hi. He said, I'm going to give you a tour of the graveyard. He said that. Are you going to tour the graveyard? Whoa.
If it wasn't so freezing cold, I could have spent hours walking around there. These boxes are all like surrounding the perimeter of the graveyard. It's like rows of them. Why is there a Sprite bottle inside? Where you like plant the flowers on it. I think it's really beautiful. This is really interesting looking. Okay, that one there, it is like literally a greenhouse. There's plants in it. I don't even know how you get inside it. German, but Carlos is not a German name. Wow, this one's written in English. Kusevich. It's like D.B. Cooper. Here's another German. David Munsmeyer. Vargas. Those are Italian. Annie Mae Lawrence Guppy. This one, the baby died at sea. Juan Ivanovich. This guy was born in Yugoslavia. Here's a German. Here's more of these like Slavic sounding names. I noticed a lot of graves had German names, or at least German last names, and Slavic names. Apparently there were 2 big waves of Croatian immigrants to this area. The first was in the 19th century during the Tierra del Fuego gold rush. The gold rush attracted people from other European countries besides Croatia as well. After the gold rush fizzled, many of the Croatians stayed and settled in Punta Arenas. The next wave was in the early 20th century when residents of Dalmatia came over after their vineyards were destroyed from vine rot and they were left without a livelihood. Back to the gold rush for a second though. During this time, many of the European settlers turned to sheep farming, and this sparked the genocide of one of the local indigenous tribes, the Selknam. They were a nomadic tribe who had been there for thousands of years. Because their territory, which was also the territory of several other tribes, had been taken over by these farmers, and because they had no real concept of what private property was, they felt they could hunt any animal in their territory, and they hunted the sheep. This was unacceptable to the farmers, and they hired bounty hunters to kill the Selknam. A first-time offense, and the bounty hunter might cut off the ear as proof. Sometimes a hand was offered as proof. A second-time offense and a head would be presented instead. Some of the larger companies offered a reward for £1 for each Selknam killed. Of course, they fought back, but they were not able to defend their lives or their territory. Disease also played a big role in their demise as well. In less than 15 years, the population was reduced from around 4,000 to just 500. Elderly people, women, and children were sold as servants, sent to missions, or even sent to human zoos in Europe to be put on display. By 1930, there were less than 100 Selknam, and the last full-blooded Selknam died in 1974. So that's your sad history lesson for today. Okay, back to present day. After a night in Punta Arenas, we flew back to Santiago. The next day, we headed up to San Cristobal Hill. While us and everyone else in Santiago, apparently it was Reformation Day, so many of the stores and restaurants were closed up. Okay, it's 11 a.m. on a Friday, but everything is shut down. Except for that Halloween store. It was nice to get out and walk, and we took the funicular back down. It wasn't that exciting, but we wanted to try it just for the experience. That night, my friend left, and the next morning, my twin arrived for the northern Chile road trip. Of course, we immediately hit the store and bought lots of snacks to taste test. Okay, so Brittany's here with me now, and we went on a bit of a junk food bender at the grocery store. And these Crispos that I showed in the Walmart video earlier in Patagonia, we decided to try them. And we got sour cream and onion. They have pretty good flavor. They're not as oily, I don't think, as regular Pringles. They have like a weird aftertaste, like they taste like powdered dried potato flakes. But if you want something salty, they're kind of good. So we love the bonbon chocolates. We're gonna try a bonbon cookie now. Oh, it looks like a Nilla wafer with chocolate.
Yeah, hold it up.
A Nilla wafer that tastes like an animal cracker. And then like a microscopic invisible layer of peanut butter and then chocolate. It'd be good with pudding. We almost bought a whole roll of these, but then we found the baby packet and we decided to try these. In Chile, all the labels is like caution or stop, sugar, saturated fat, calories. Like when you buy junk food, they really warn you about it. Wow, it smells like a lemon cooler. Tastes like
taste like anything.
It doesn't literally taste like powder. It's not. Okay, what else do we get? Try the pudding. Yeah. Wow. I don't know if I want to try this. They really love chocolate and orange flavor here in Chile, and I'm not like a huge fan of that combo, but you can't even taste the orange. Okay, this is the manjar, which is that like dulce de leche flavor, I think. Wow, it's very cool.
You can hear the foam of the...
Oh man, this one's good. That's a winner. I can feel the fat on my lips from that whipped cream. Wow, it's very fatty. And then we think this is vanilla. Okay, the whipped cream is a little excessive. I don't like whipped cream. I don't even know what flavor. It tastes like fermented egg
Here,
yolk.
show it up. Put it up. Is it a custard?
It's like not sweet. Is there even sugar in this? Crema chantilly. Oh, I think that's whipped cream. I don't know what this flavor is. Lucuma, is that like that lucuma powder that you get at like a natural grocery store? I don't know. It's weird. This one is a winner though. Also, this cheese is the bomb. I love this cheese. My sister had a friendly taxi driver who brought her into the city from the airport. We kept his number and arranged for him to take us back to the airport the next day to pick up our rental car from Sixt. We loved our Chinese car, a little cherry Tigo.
Okay, me and Brittany are in a luxury SUV, which I'm actually worried about the gas mileage because
Alyssa, they said it got good gas
eco
mileage.
doesn't mean anything.
Okay, I'm gonna just go really fast.
Okay, Brittany's gonna use the bathroom. Our SUV's really big, but it's like really nice. We've got leather seats and it's got a wonderful display. So I was like, is that car use a lot of gas? And he's like, oh no, it has eco mode. I'm like, eco mode doesn't do anything, but whatever. It's really nice to be in a good rental car with like nice tires after our old RAV4 with bald tires in Patagonia. Ooh la la, look at all these features. It has like an auto charge station, I think. Yeah, it's charging. We're ready to hit the road.
The only funny thing about it is that when it showed an aerial view of the car, it looked like a toy car in comparison to everything else. The proportions were a little off, to say the least. Before we get into the actual road trip, though, I want to explain the decision to drive to the Atacama Desert and the route we took. My sister was going to be with me for 2 weeks. Everything we read said that you should set aside 3 to 5 days for the desert. We thought, okay, well, what the heck are we going to do with the rest of the trip if we fly to Calama and go straight there? We also looked at flying up here and doing a road trip in this region because I was really interested in going to Lauca National Park. But we were having a hard time finding good lodging with decent Wi-Fi, which I really needed for work. We did so much research and explored so many different routes and locations before we ultimately settled on the route we ended up taking. As I explained in my first video in this series, I had a very hard time finding information on northern Chile road trips. After doing such a road trip, now I know why. It shouldn't be done. But if you're still curious about what it's like and why I think that, then please continue watching this series. So the route we took, and I'm probably going to horribly mispronounce these names, was from Santiago to Coquimbo, then to Copiapo, then Antofagasta, then San Pedro de Atacama, back to Antofagasta, where we threw in the towel on our road trip and flew back to Santiago instead of driving back like we originally planned. We could not muster the strength to endure a road trip all the way back down. One way was more than enough. When we left Santiago, the terrain gradually became more lush and there were a lot of wildflowers. The closer we got to La Serena, the terrain became more desert-like. 2 weird things happened that day. When we gassed up in Santiago and then again just outside of La Serena, the attendants made a point of showing us that the meter was on 0 before they started pumping the gas. We didn't have that happen once in Patagonia, so I don't know what that was about. The second thing was, when we bought food in La Serena, my sister paid with her credit card. They wanted her to sign the receipt and also write down some number like a national ID. She showed them her license and her passport, but that wasn't what they wanted. 2 other cashiers came over and we could not figure out what they were asking for, even with the translator apps. I paid for everything with a credit card that whole trip and was not asked once to write down an ID number. Eventually, they let us go, but we still have no clue what they wanted us to write down. Once we got settled into our apartment, we went on another junk food junkie binge. We're gonna try this. Takis. How do you pronounce these? So
These ones are Explosion.
smells good.
They're delicious.
I've never had a taki before.
You don't like them?
No.
What do you not like about it?
Like a dog food or something. Oh!
I told you.
Yeah, I'll try Fuego. Gosh, I've never eaten something this color before.
That's Flamin' Hot Cheetos color.
This one is good. Wow, they're delicious.
Are they spicy?
Salty? Wow. Oh my gosh.
They're like little rolls.
Oh my gosh, these are so good. Now we're gonna try this. I feel like it's gonna taste like grenadine. Oh, it stinks. It's very medicinal. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful.
Let me smell. I don't want to try it, but I just want to smell it.
It's awful. If you like medicine, you'll
It
love
smells
this.
terrible. I don't even.
Okay, thank God it was a buck.
Okay, so let's try one more salty. We have these.
Oh, they smell good.
Salsa verde.
Those are okay.
I have to say, I think we're both starving too, so.
No, these
might
Takis
taste
are
better.
genuinely good. Now we're gonna try some
Look.
sweets.
We are gonna try these Chuckitas.
I've been wanting to try these for 2 weeks.
It just says Chuckita balls.
We have
no
a theory
other
they're like a malt ball, but they could
information.
just be like a weird wafer thing.
It's a little crispy wafer inside.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun, but it's kind of boring.
It's boring.
Yeah.
So we also got these poster rolls crispy.
I'm excited about these. These look like they've been
Oh, we got
sitting
the
for
grease
too
fry.
long. And they're really good though. These would be delicious with peanut butter.
I feel like they're like cornflakes with chocolate on them.
Wow, these are a winner. Love them. Okay, now I'm gonna try this lemon pudding.
It
Feeling like
grease
this
fry.
looks like grease fry. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh! Brittany didn't get the caramel jackpot. Hello.
What say you?
I don't like that caramel stuff, but
You don't like the caramel stuff?
has a weird. Is this like liquid jello? What is this caramel stuff? It's got a weird, funky flavor. I feel like all the flavorings are very off.
Yeah.
Very off.
Well, you keep eating it, so.
Well, I like sugar, that's why. How could I forget to talk about this? This is chestnut puree. It's chestnut, water, sugar, and some weird chemicals. I love chestnuts. This is, I saved the best for last on accident. Wow, not what I was imagining at all. It's wow. You know how chestnuts have kind of like an earthy flavor? It tastes like kind of like earthy, mushy chestnut. And then it's got like this sickeningly sweet syrup with it. It's not good. Next time, we're going to the Elqui Valley for some Pisco taste testing. Then we run into some major dramarama on the way to our next destination and explore our first national park in the desert. If you're curious about northern Chile, then hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you know when that comes out. See you next time.